Welcome back. Today we are going to visit some of the old original NLP techniques that are used to make you a better conversationalist. Somebody who can use words to get people to listen, basically. The very first technique we are going to study here is called the outcome frame. Yes, I know it is nothing revolutionary, nothing really new, but sometimes I am also doing videos for the newcomers who are still discovering this field that is Neuro-Linguistic Programming. The outcome frame is the exact reverse of the blame frame, which is what you hear most people doing every day. We see and hear that many times in debates, talking about, for example, feminism against alpha males, or just matriarchy versus patriarchy. The point is that they both try to explain that the other side is the enemy. We see the same thing on a topic that is very sensitive right now, I know, Democrats against Republicans, where they both try to say that this is the enemy, no, this is the enemy. They just try to blame somebody else for all the misery in the world, or at least in the country. Whatever the case is, no matter who is it that you blame, as long as you stay in the blame frame on the individual level, because if it is politicians, it is a whole other game. But if it is as an individual, if you keep blaming others, saying, yeah, if I don't get what I want, it is because of their fault, they did this. At some point, none of those presuppositions will lead anywhere. That may lead anywhere if you are a politician and you have an agenda with the media, that is another story. But as a single individual, that is just leading nowhere because you are always displacing the responsibility on something or somebody else. If instead of that, you could start to become part of the outcome frame, envisioning the outcome frame in your conversations, meaning how do we improve that? How do we get out of that? Instead of finding whose fault it is the fault of women, it is the fault of men, it is the fault of money, it is the fault of Democrats. What if it was not the fault of anyone and just yours, motherfucker? What if it was your fault because you are not putting into use the right tools or methods or strategies to help your situation? And when you discuss with somebody else and you want to find what is the outcome, the positive, potentially positive outcome for this conversation, instead of trying to attack that person saying, yeah, this is the fault. What if you were, instead of that, attempting to find a positive outcome? My outcome with that person, my positive outcome is to accomplish this or that. If it is somebody I may have a disagreement with, okay, how can I show, in my opinion, the positive side of what I believe in? Instead of trying to attack and dismiss what they believe in, I might simply explain what I see as positive in my belief system. And that might be a healthier outcome, an outcome frame, than trying to attack and dismiss what they believe in that I disagree with. What if I was simply enumerating why do I support and believe the things I do believe in? That might cause much less conflicts than if I was just trying to attack somebody else because apparently my opinion is worth better than theirs. And if I do this, if I come from that frame of I am better, they are inferior, they will just react in the same way with me as a mirror. So they will say, no, they are superior, I am inferior. At some point, can we just find a positive outcome for the conversation instead of attacking each other? The second technique is called the agreement frame, which is kind of a consequence of the outcome, of the positive outcome frame, when you do have one. The agreement frame will be about finding compromises. Whenever you want to envision a potential positive outcome for this conversation and for the situation, if it is, for example, a business you are building with an associate, with a potential partner, and you are not really agreeing on the terms of how that company should be built. Okay, how can we use an agreement frame so that we focus, first of all, on the least possible elements we do agree upon, and from there we do build into other more important things, and down the road we do address the concerns. Starting from the things you do agree upon will be more relevant though than starting from what you disagree upon. If you come into a conversation with an attacker vibe or a defender vibe, I'm gonna prove you wrong, everyone is gonna match that energy right off the bat. Because they can smell and match your anger the same way you can smell and match the anger of anyone who is trying to attack you. You may just be scared if somebody is really more aggressive than you are, and if you are as aggressive as they are, that will just be a fight. Verbally in the best case scenario, physically in the worst case scenario. And eventually worse than just a fight if it is really into some circles like the mafia. For example, so with the agreement frame, you want to start from the least possible elements you do agree upon, even if there is a bit of bullshit like, oh yeah, I can see you are really an independent thinker, even if you don't completely believe that about that person, at least mention one thing positive about them that can be objectively positive. And from there, the conversation will get smoother and they will stop interrupting you, first of all, very important. They might reciprocate and say, okay, I don't like what you say, but I can acknowledge this is something positive you've done. Cool. And from there we can build into at least a less conflicting relationship than if both of you just try to attack each other. So the agreement frame is about finding the least possible compromise at the intersection between your opinions and your values and the opinions and values of the person you are interacting with. And the last one, we have the pacing and leading, which is kind of the down-to-earth application of the first two principles we have been seeing here. The pacing and leading will be about starting to enumerate in your phrases facts and truisms that are universally true, either about the person you are interacting with. Johnny, I can see you have been working hard these days. I can see you have devoted wife. I can see your wife is really struggling right now. I can see, okay, just things that person is forced to agree upon. And then once that person is into a yes mode, yes, 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 then you can lead into, now what I don't like about your behavior is this and that. If you first start by pacing things that are universally true or at least accepted as being true by that person, then anything you say, the pill will be swallowed more easily if you have started by things the person would be agreeing upon easily. That can be things about them. So Johnny, you have been working hard. I can see you are definitely an independent thinker. Those are the kind of things nobody's going to say no to. Have you ever seen somebody saying, no, I'm just a dumb person? No, like everyone likes to be put on the pedestal to some extent. It is vitalizing the self-esteem. So starting by points, elements, phrases, statements, facts about positive values that person holds or about the world. Today we are talking here on YouTube. There is a video camera, you are here watching. Those are things your brain is just saying implicitly, unconsciously, yes, 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 yes to. If I keep putting your brain in a yes mode, then anything I say later will be accepted more easily than if I try to impose right off the bat something you might be tense about. If it is a sales presentation, I might start by the same way saying, you know, here we are watching this video on YouTube, you are listening to some things I might say that might get you some thinking, some thoughts, and maybe some of the things I say will be interesting for you, maybe some of the things I say won't be really interesting, and you may have other videos on YouTube you may like. Now, what I would like to do is to explain to you what this new course is about that I have launched, blah, blah, blah. I have started by things your brain was automatically programmed to say yes to, because those are verifiable facts, unfalsifiable facts, basically things you are willing to accept as being true without arguing too much. From there, once your brain is into a yes mode, then it is much easier to lead you into direction I want to lead your mind into, versus if I had just tried to impose something right off the bat without any patience, without taking time to settle down your potential barriers, your potential concerns about anything I might say. It is a much more elegant conversational technique whenever you want to get somebody to agree with you on anything. And now, if you want to develop your communication skills and be sure that every time you want to persuade or influence somebody, you get the right words and you know what to say to make them agree with you, you have a document down below called The 7 Steps to Master Sleight of Mouth, which will be of great use whenever you want to convince a person who was disagreeing with you, whenever you want to help somebody also, because we might want, as a coach or as a therapist, to build up the confidence and self-esteem of people we interact with, and we may not really know how to do that. So you will have the strategies, some of them to accomplish such a result, and you have different linguistic tactics to defend yourself when somebody is trying to attack you without being aggressive, and how to hold the frame in an interaction where you feel it is required. Thank you for listening. You have this document down below. I hope to see you soon in another video. In the meantime, keep practicing your skills. I am watching you, and see you in the next one.